Justified City Primeval has finally wrapped its first season, and I have a lot to say about it. If you have been following my reviews on the show so far, you know very well that I have not been a fan of the series so far. On the contrary, I've always been open about my disappointment over the show, especially as a massive Justified fan who has been patiently waiting for this return of the series for so long. And let me tell you, my hopes were up until the very last minute of the series, knowing that at one point things might change for the better and make this whole watch worthwhile. Thankfully, now that I've completed my Justified City Primeval run, I can confidently say that the very last 5 minutes of the show were just priceless, and I can't wait to go through those moments again with you guys. That being said, this doesn't change the fact that the entire series up until that moment was basically trash, and I'm still bitter about it. Before getting to the good parts, we have to endure the bad parts, so let's start from that. Okay, one of the relatively better aspects of this show was the character of Clement as a villain. Yes, it was over the top and ridiculous at times, but it was still original enough to keep me interested throughout the show. Once you create such an over-the-top villain, you also build up an anticipation for the downfall of that character. Can you imagine Joker dying in his sick bed, for instance? I mean, even thinking about it is absurd. There is only one way for an epic villain like Joker to fall, and it is through Batman's hands after a legendary fight that will exhaust them both mentally and physically. I believe Justified City Primeval had two of the most essential components for such an epic final: a great hero and a relatively good villain. But it still lacked one component that ruined the entire ending: a good scenario. I mean, we basically watched Clement killing all the Albanians who were so terribly written that even Casper the Ghost is more threatening than them. Then he went after Raylan as expected, which got me excited as I was hoping for a showdown. And yet all we see is a bunch of gibberish words, and then Raylan simply killing Clement. The stakes were so low that I even speculated on whether to jump directly to the end of the show or not. I didn't care about their rivalry situation not for a bit, as they didn't have any personal relationship to convince me. The only good part of that scene was Carolyn's hilarious words about calling the morgue, and that was it. At that point, we still had almost 20 minutes left of the show, which got me curious as we are not used to seeing the supposedly main villain of a series silently killed off in the middle of the episode. Then by the time I lost my entire hope about the show, we jumped into a prison scene right after Raylan announced his retirement. I couldn't understand what we were watching at first and even thought of the possibility of Clement somehow surviving and ending up in prison, because it was clear that the showrunners were still looking to implant some scenes for a possible second season. And yes, if it was truly Clement in that prison, I would have rage quit the show at that very moment. Thankfully, the prisoner in question was the best one that could ever be, the one and only Boyd Crowder. The moment I saw him, I was hooked on the show all over again. We watched him preaching in the prison, creating a very good persona as if he had transformed as a person throughout the past decade. But then he shocked us once again by pulling a prison break, which can be my favorite trope on TV ever. And then the show ended with a now retired Raylan's phone ringing, trying to let him know about the latest Boyd situation. It's clear that the showrunners won't have a second season of this show, and with Boyd in the house, I feel like it is guaranteed for the series to be renewed. However, I can't help but question why we watched the entire Detroit plot if we had the chance to have a show with Boyd in the first place. I mean, since the Detroit storyline was nothing more than trash, I can't help but feel like I've simply watched a very long introduction for a series that will actually be about Boyd. I'm sorry, but this season was a complete letdown and a waste of time up until its last 5 minutes. Nevertheless, if Boyd is in the house, I will certainly tune in for the second season. Will you watch the second season of Justified City Primeval? Did you like the series ending? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you for watching. See you soon.